you, Lord. Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Everybody say, ah. Oh, oh, say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough, yeah, to say thank you. So Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things, Father, you done for me, yeah. Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you are, you're my everything. See, I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. Uya matinyina. Uya matinyina. Uya matinyina. Oh, uya matinyina. Yeah, so uya. Uya matinyina. Uya matinyina. Yeah. Uya matinyina. Uya matinyina. Say, I call you Jireh, say. I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are my everything. Yeah. Are you ready, everybody? All right, listen. William Miguel, come here. 1, 2, 3. I can breathe without you, sir. I can breathe without you. I can move without you, Lord. I can move without you. Hey, who am I without you? Who am I without you? Say, I can live without you, yeah. I can live without you. I can breathe without you, Lord. I can breathe without you. I can move without you, yeah. I can move without you. Hello, 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 lovely people, wonderful people out there. It's another Saturday afternoon here on BWTV, BW Radio, and on BWF Solicitors Facebook, YouTube, and all the social media platforms. My name is Ulrich Frimpong, and I have the duty, the pleasure, and honor to come your way again with another edition of the community and the law. Now, today, I am going to ask you to do two things for me. First of all, we're going to do some calculations and see where we stand with those things. Then again, there's this question in the community. Um, I don't really like talking about that, but people suffer abuse and violence in their homes and families. Now, when somebody suffers domestic abuse and domestic violence, what happens? Does the society and the community protect such a person? In the realm of immigration and nationality, when somebody suffers domestic abuse and violence in the family or at home, what can the person do? How does the immigration regulation protect such a person? And oftentimes in the black ethnic minority communities, we think that it's only women that suffer abuse and violence. But today, I'm going to open up something to you.
And when it is that the other side, men suffer domestic violence and abuse, what happens to them? Well, we'll be defining all these things and the rest of it. So I would want you to call somebody, so somebody calls somebody, or get ready, like the page, community, and everything engaged. And of course, we come to the platform where we'll all be learning so many things, and that will be brought to you, as we always do, by BWF Solicitors, our trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Ladies and gentlemen, it is another Saturday afternoon, and welcome to the community and the law. Okay, do it now. We're sharing, we're inviting, we're community uh, engaging, and everything. Once again, my name is Owusu Paul. Thank you very much for being here. This is the community and the law, and we'll bring you this program every Saturday afternoon between 4 and 6 p.m. GMT. Today, we are looking at something real important: domestic violence and abuse in the community, especially at home. And we saying that if it is that you suffer that, how do the laws protect you? As the uh, community ready to make sure that you enjoy all the benefits and all that. Now, when it comes to immigration matter, the question we ask is somebody who suffered domestic abuse, does the person have the right to apply for indefinite leave to remain? And when it is done that, do we often think that it's only women that suffer domestic abuse, or men do as well? We'll be answering that question, and we'll be telling you how you can go about that. So get yourselves ready, and we jump into it together right after this.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws. There are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law: family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner, with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community, is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London, N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
Yes, your trusted legal partners when it comes to the law as BWF Solicitors. Visit them on the fourth floor of Anna House, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, London N54NP. If you use public transport, you go via the Victoria line, um, get off at Seven Sisters, use exit number 2, and we'll take you to the frontage of Anna House. Climb up to the fourth floor, Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. BWF solicitors have opened the doors and they're ready to listen to everything you bring them when it comes to the law, and you have absolute success. BWF Solicitors is proud to be associated with the community and the law. And today, they have graciously allowed one of their astute lawyers to come join us again on the program, and we're going to answer a very interesting question. And well, obviously, you can say, well, it's a straight answer. Um, did you know that men who have suffered domestic abuse can also apply for indefinite leave to remain in the UK? What does the law say? When it comes to domestic violence and abuse, is it only women that suffer it, as we often get to know in our community? We'll be looking at that. So get yourselves ready, invite people, tell your friend to tell a friend that we are live, and share the link, get people to contribute and have a part in the discussion. And also, if you have any questions and concerns, you can put them on our platform, or send that to me as a text 079504228780. And when the time is up, I will get you to call me on the line 07399 208468. And we will be addressing all the issues. It doesn't matter your questions when it comes to that. It doesn't matter whether we've dealt with the topic or not. You can really get to join us on that. Remember, the line will be activated pretty soon at 07399208468. But before then, let me start with some announcements, and we'll get the nuggets out of the way. Now, earlier in the week, BWF solicited threw something into the community, and what they're talking about is maintenance. You remember when I was doing the introduction, I mentioned that I would need you to get your calculators ready, because we're going to calculate some amount of money, and that will help us satisfy some criteria. Now, look at this. Adequate maintenance and accommodation means that after income tax, national insurance contributions, and housing costs have been deducted, there must be available to the person or family the level of income or funds that would be available to them if the person or family was in receipt of income support. That is, the projected weekly income A less the projected weekly accommodation costs B would be equal to or more than the amount the family would be entitled to if they were in receipt of income support or its equivalent, which is C. So A minus B equals or less than or more than C. This is maths, and we need to get into the classroom to do this. Now, this was quoted from KA and others, Adequacy of Maintenance, Pakistan 2006, and also from Ahmed's Benefits Proofs of Receipt Evidence, Bangladesh 2013. These will be looked at. So, first of all, let me quickly go back to the desk and get to invite my brother and my learned friend from BWF Solicitors, Lawyer Charles Asma, who is my resource person and guest today. Lawyer, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rebecca.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you too?
I've got my calculator ready.
Yes, pretty good. Because today we will be touching upon,
Yeah.
we will call it numeracy skills. So we're testing our numeracy skills.
Don't scare us. Bring it down.
We're
To
testing
our
our
level.
math skills.
Right.
A
So we're
simple
doing
calculation,
that,
yes.
that calculation. But let's look at what has been put in the community. We're talking about income maintenance levels, what one needs to receive, and how do we calculate that amount of money that will get us to meet the criteria. We're talking about adequate maintenance and accommodation. Um, what rate is the income tax, national insurance contribution, how much of my salary or wage is taken from, I don't know that. All these are quite technical things. Please unpick them and let us know.
Thank you very much. So we will offer our greetings after the exposition on the nugget. So viewers, bear with us. Let's go straight to the nugget. Good afternoon.
Right.
So today we are looking at making an application to the Home Office, either internally or externally. One of the criteria under Appendix FM is that you must have income enough to meet your living needs
Okay.
for yourself and the dependent who are joining you from abroad
Okay.
or with you here. Now, if the child is a British child, then that child will be exempted from the maintenance threshold or the finance bit.
Okay.
So we are assuming that if there are children involved, those children are not British children. What it means is that ideally the rules would say that the partner or the other person who is inviting you, your dependent who is in the UK, should be working and earning 18,600. That's the baseline or the starting point. And that is the financial requirement. What if I work, but I do not earn that much?
Okay.
What do I do? Doesn't mean I don't qualify. So the rules are divided into two parts, finance and maintenance.
Okay.
So that even if the finance stream of requirement is not met, the person should be able to meet the maintenance stream of requirement. So
Do they have to meet both, or you could meet one instead of the other?
Well, if you can meet the reason why it's drilled down, and you can see that this is a case law authority, is drilled down is to support those who work but don't earn that much.
Okay.
So that if you're able to meet the standard 18,600 plus 3,200 plus 2,400 for the kids, then that's fine. You don't have a problem. What if I don't earn 18,600 for my spouse and 3, 2, and 2, 4 for the kids? What do I do? Doesn't mean I can't make application. Now the rules have been drilled down to cover those people who may find themselves in that category. So what we are saying is that even if you don't meet the finance and you meet the maintenance, then you can apply. So how do you show that you meet the maintenance even if you don't have enough finance?
Okay.
And that is the case law position. So the case of Ahmed is the current authority 2013, and you can see that this upper tribunal decision, so it holds power. And again, the predecessor case, 2006, the case of K and others, talking about adequacy of maintenance, and the other one is talking about benefit, proof of receipt, evidence to show, and so on and so forth. So the question here is, if somebody is using the maintenance as a way to meet the immigration rules requirement, what is the benchmark?
Okay.
So the benchmark is somebody who is in the UK and receiving benefit. That's the benchmark. So if somebody who is in the UK and receiving benefit is able to survive, then if you're also receiving the same amount, you should be able to survive.
Okay.
So you should not be stretched to bring more than these people who are receiving benefit are earning and surviving.
Okay.
The baseline. Therefore, how do I prove that I meet the minimum maintenance threshold as it would have been if I was on benefit?
Okay.
So we look at the current position in terms of how much do those on benefit earn. And this, you go online to access how much those on benefit earn. So if for a couple a week, how much are you giving to be able to live on? So let's assume that there is a standard element of, let's say, here we adopt figures for calculation purposes. Then we can tell whether somebody can meet or not. So let's assume that if you are on benefit, you get, let's say, £130 simply.
Okay.
£130 for a couple established. Let's assume that if you are on benefit and you have a child, your child is also giving something. And let's say assume that the child is giving £50. That means the couple 130 plus, let's say, a child of £50 is 170, isn't it?
Right.
So that is for a couple and a child. What if these people or this couple have two children, and that would be 50 times 2, 100 pounds. Then you add to that of the couple, making 100 plus 130, 230.
230. Okay.
Then, if you have another child, so times the number of children you have times 50
Times
for simplicity.
Like for any additional
And
child.
exactly, you keep adding. So for simplicity. So we have assumed figures
Okay.
for the benefits of our learning. Now, let's assume that this person with one child was 180, isn't it? We say 130. Let's say 130 plus 50, 180. This person is, let's say, working, but just doing 2 hours, 3 hours, or a few hours, and earning, say, 1,500 pounds.
Okay.
This person earns 1,500 pounds. However, this is before tax and national insurance. So
Okay.
call this gross income on the pay slip. So your gross earnings there, then we come to your deductions.
Then we do
Let's
that.
say this person, we are not going to do tax calculation, so I'm just going to give crude figures. So let's assume that this person is paying tax of 100 pounds. We take it from 1,005, the person is left with 1,400.
1,400. Yeah.
Let's assume that this person is also paying national insurance of 50 pounds. The person has 1,400.
Take
So
50,
take it
it's 1,350.
1,350.
Okay.
This is for 1 month. Let's divide this by 4. Technically, you look at 52 weeks. So, but this is 1 month. So you can, if we're really stretching it to get the accurate figure, we'll multiply the 1 month by 12 and divide by 52 to get
exactly how much will be.
But for crude calculation, let's say 1 week, 1 month is 4 weeks.
Okay.
Assuming, because some are not. That's why we do the other side. So let's take it that 1 month is 4 weeks. Therefore, 1,350, isn't it? Divide by 4 for 1 week. Because the benefit is given on weekly basis. So if you are trying to benchmark it, your earnings should be weekly. So if you are getting it on monthly basis, you have to drill it down to weekly basis.
Right.
So 1,350 divided by 4. If you divide 1,000 by 4, you get 250. If you divide 300 by 4, you get 75. So you add to the 250, that gives you 325. Then you also have 50. You divide by 4, you get £12.50. So once you do all that, you realize that, let's say, so what do you get? For the benefit of our learners, £337. So this person every week is getting £337.
50 pence.
50 pence. Now, how much does somebody who is on benefit get? We did the calculation based on the assumption, the fact we give ourselves. And we realized that the couple have 130, one child has 50, making 180, and they have only one child. So somebody who's on benefit with one child, we are talking about 180. This person is not on benefit, but is working and earning for maintenance purposes, and it's 337.5. So 337 pounds 50 pence. Let's assume that this person has one child. If this person has one child, then you can see, so if this person has one child, even that, we are talking about 50. So with 180, we are looking at 337. Has this person got enough comparable to somebody on benefit? Okay. More than, isn't it? If it's more than, then the argument is that if the person is allowed to enter the UK, they will earn enough to be able to survive to help their family members.
Oh, okay.
So the person who is making the application will prove that I'm earning X amount for myself and my husband who will be joining me. And with one child we still have enough to survive, just like if we were to be on benefit.
Okay.
What if the reverse is the case? Then you say that you do not earn enough comparable to somebody on benefit. If, let's say, our calculation was the other way around, let's say the person we calculated and the person was earning, let's say, 137.
Okay.
Meanwhile, it's supposed to be 180, isn't it? Then we say that it's not enough.
So the person doesn't qualify.
then you wouldn't meet the maintenance threshold.
So what if I do not meet the maintenance threshold, but I meet any other criteria?
But this is not a case of exceptional circumstances where you say that you don't meet the 5-year route, so let's put you on the 10-year route.
Yeah.
If the person is in the UK and making an application under the 5-year route, he must meet the maintenance requirement. That is where the calculation comes in. If they don't meet it, then they will be put on the 10-year route.
Right.
But 10-year route looks at exceptions, including maintenance.
Okay.
But we are talking about somebody coming from abroad. Would a person then say that I don't meet it, so I should give an exception? The exceptions do not apply remotely.
So if there should be an exception, then it has to be an in-country support.
In-country application, where you have made application under the 5-year route, but we assess and realize that your maintenance is not adequate enough, comparable to somebody on benefit, then you'll be put on the 10-year route. But if you are doing it from abroad, and you can't meet the threshold for finance, you can still rely on the threshold for maintenance.
Okay.
But then there will be no exception if you are doing it from abroad. You can't say that if I don't meet it, put me on the 10-year route, because there's nothing like that for entry clearance.
Right.
So the point here for learning is that if you are making an application and you do not meet the finance, but you can meet the maintenance, then you can target the maintenance and make sure that maintenance for a week, in terms of money you are getting after your tax and your bills. And bills here, we are looking at your
priority bills.
Priority bills. And the key thing is the rent. So the calculation we had, we assumed that the person's rent is covered, and that gave us that. But if you deduct all that and you have that left, or the disposable income left after your rent and your tax, then you are okay. Somebody will say that, but my salary is the net, because that's what I get. So why do I have to go back and calculate from gross? Take your pay slip and look at how much net you get. Then take your rent out of it. Whatever is left should be the C we are talking about.
So it should be either equal to or more than.
Equal to or more. So if you are less, if it's less, then you are not able to meet.
Well, so obviously the text that we did has drawn that very lengthy and detailed explanation from lawyer. And it says that adequate maintenance and accommodation means that after income tax, national insurance contributions, and housing costs, that's the rent that lawyer was talking about, after all these have been deducted, there must be available to the person or family the level of income or funds that would be available to them if the person or family was in receipt of income support. That is the projected weekly income, that is the A, where that's what he made us calculate, and we're 337.50. Then you take away your weekly accommodation cost. So for instance, if your weekly accommodation cost is £100, then you take that out of that. And what is left would be equal to or more than the amount the family would be entitled to if they were in receipt of income support or its equivalent. So for instance, if income support was 130 and you are left with 230, then it means that you qualify, because then you have met the criteria. I think I'm right.
You are on point.
Absolutely on point. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, that I would want to get you to remember that, because I'll be asking you a question about that. And in the question today, as I said, you would need your calculator. I would ask you to do some calculation for me, as lawyer made me do. I'm going to make you do the same. So get ready. We will be taking your income. We will be deducting your income tax, your national insurance contribution, and your rent. And we see if you qualify under the criteria that is set by the Home Office. Well, it's the community and the law, and we are here by courtesy of BWF Solicitors, our trusted partners when it comes to the law. Lawyer said that he was going to deal with the nuggets before he comes in to say his greetings, and I know there are greetings and well wishes from BWF Solicitors. What's from home?
Right, there's so much from home. And to begin with, we want to extend our gratitude to you for continuously being with us, your patronage over the years, over the period. every week you join us. Thank you so much. And thank you too for continuously referring people to BWF Solicitors. Continue to join us to work in the best interest of our community. We bring you greetings from BWF Solicitors leadership and entire crew. Today, we have something good for you. Stay put, enjoy, and share.
Well, join us and share all the bits and wonderful pieces of information you have. Let me, first of all, do my housekeeping. Kwabena Tufo, thank you very much for coming on board. Ademonunkom is on board. Good evening, Mr. Frimpong, and lawyer Rebecca Mwako says so. Ademonunkom, good afternoon to everyone. We have Kwabena Tufo, as I mentioned, watching from West London. Good mathematical analysis, lawyer. Your O-level maths is good. According to that's the reason why I always go to BWF Solicitors, because we have learned friends there. Nice outfit, Konyo. Thank you very much for that. Bullet Designs did that for me. Thank you to them as well. Let's see what else we have. We have other people, Habiba, Rebecca, yes, I mentioned you, Ricky Boche, Chiwo, and all the other people that are on us. Please share, and like the page as well. Let the algorithm look very nice, and we will all be happy in the family. Now, on the platform, I want the interaction that normally goes on to continue. But if you have any question, put it on there. When the time comes, we'll pick it up for lawyer to answer for us. If you have any contribution, let's put it there as well. We'll pick it up and add to our discussion. Now, the question I'm going to ask you now is, we talk about domestic violence, and people think that in the Black and ethnic minority communities, it's only women who suffer domestic violence. No. Somebody asked me just before the program, but it's only women. I said, are you sure? I can give you instances, I can give you examples, but I'm not going to do that. I want you to join the discussion. And first of all, let me go over again to the lawyer and ask, when we say domestic violence, can I put that in the same group as domestic abuse? And even in that, how do we define that?
Thank you very much, viewers and listeners. We are not going to be too technical. We'll keep it simple. So, from a layman's point of view, violence, anything that creates apprehension.
Okay.
Whatever will make you apprehensive or fear of what is likely to happen to you is violence. It could be verbal, it could be physical, it could even be financial.
Okay.
Now, when this happens, the person receiving the apprehension is being abused by the perpetrator of the violence or the apprehension. So if the person is violating the other person by way of physical, and abuse is simply defined within the context of assault. Assault is defined as the least apprehension of violence.
Okay.
So if you make me to apprehend violence, then that's assault. And that is created by way of abuse. So what are you doing to say that you're abusing the person? Your action, your behavior. So even shouting can be abusive.
All right.
Because it's creating apprehension.
Apprehension.
It's
And that could lead
emotional.
to,
Exactly.
lead to a violent situation.
Exactly. So fidget. So all these things, and that we're looking at the context of the home.
Okay.
Could be from the man, could be from the woman. We usually say that women suffer that from the hands of men.
So then, do we say that we are wrong in defining violence as just physically attacking somebody, hitting, pushing, causing harm? We are wrong in defining it generally like that, because there could be other situations that could come under that umbrella.
Yes. The reason why we stick to physical violence is that with physical violence, you are able to find evidence.
Okay.
So it could be by way of ABH, actual bodily harm, or GBH, grievous bodily harm. So actual bodily harm, if you punch me and even there's no blood, but I feel pain and the place swells, that's actual. Grievous is where my jaw breaks, and that is serious. So we see the mark and we say that something has happened.
Okay.
But what about the ones that we don't see? Are we saying that nothing has happened? But again, it might be difficult to prove.
Psychologically,
That
people
is
might be
psychological. In this case, if you have evidence to suggest that this is leading to that, then you can categorize or put it within the context of violence.
Let me be very not naive, but quite very simple and down to the very minimal. For instance, if I am always shouted at, or my partner says things that make me feel that I'm hurt, can I classify that as being abused?
Yes, but that's emotional.
Right.
Things that tend to demean, they are all emotional because they don't. I mean, if you are demeaned in a way, more or less, we are saying that you are worthless. So if your husband or your wife is always making reference, comparing to this, comparing to that, and all that, then you feel worthless. You feel that you don't even belong. And you know that some of these things can even trigger suicide in some people. Continuous of it, because they build up. So if these things are happening within the context of the home, and the other party is able to report it, that's why they will then look into it to see what is going on. But it's both. What we usually see is the direct one, where we assume that it is coming from the masculine person to the feminine person.
Right.
But what if both of them are masculine or feminine? These days we have civil partnerships. They are both males, they are both females. So then you can see that the discussion has gone beyond man and woman.
All right. Then maybe I'm picking and bringing an example. For instance, I've heard people say that if I don't argue with my partner, we don't feel too well bonded. And arguments upon arguments and things are said that hurt people. If people are always arguing, can we say that the person who normally loses the argument could be abused?
I disagree in part with that thought. I mean, the fact that you decide not to respond doesn't mean that you have lost. Sometimes silence is golden.
Anyway, speech is silver.
Exactly. So gold and silver, I might choose
I'll
gold.
go gold, yeah.
Therefore, depending on the context, we may go for gold. It doesn't mean that we don't want to be seen to be, yes, the champion, but we want peace. We don't want things to escalate. But get to a point, if the other person takes that as a weakness of the other part, then it becomes obvious that, no, the person is taking advantage.
Right.
The point here is this: anything that of violent nature within the home, the law classifies that as domestic abuse.
A woman tells the husband, look at your neighbor, look at your friend. He does this, he does that. What kind of worthless man are you? You don't do this for me, you don't do that for me. Can I catalog those things and report them as being forms of abuse?
Yes, because obviously this is triggering emotional trauma for the person. This can even lead the person to take to drinking or certain habits. Now, the point here is, what evidence do you have? So the person should be able to report it. Maybe the person is going through psychological treatment as a result of this incessant abuse. Then, so even though this is not obvious, you have to convert it to obvious level so that you can evidence it.
Okay.
How do you prove that you are going through emotional abuse?
That was my
Yeah. How do you prove it? If it is physical abuse, at least we can see the marks. So usually you say, okay, go bring the mark, go bring the evidence that it happened. You have your pictures, you have this, you have that. You've been to hospital, maybe the doctor can even say there were marks all over. But if it is not physical, how do you prove it? So, if it is emotional and it is affecting you psychologically, then it's affecting your mental well-being.
Right.
So you report it.
Do I report it to the police?
No, this is not police.
Okay.
If it is leading to assault, then that's police matter because then it takes you to the level of crime.
Okay.
But we are talking about you suffering mental abuse. So your first port will be your GP. Your GP will listen to your story, how long the episodes have been occurring, then may make a referral. Usually the GP will ask you to do a self-referral to the mental health people. What's their name? Uh, the cat. So anyway, the name will come out. Yeah, anyway, so the name will come out. The point we are making is that once you report the matter, they will start offering you therapy.
Okay.
Would that give you evidence? Yes. That something has been happening and you have been reporting, you are getting the treatment. So,
Somebody's just sent me this question, and what if my partner denies me sexual pleasure and chances? Can I report that?
I mean, if you stretch the spectrum of abuse, it includes sexual abuse, one denying the other. But the point is, sometimes people don't really get to that point. There might be even hurtful aspects to suggest that something is happening, so that you may even choose not to include this bit. But if the only abuse you are going through is the sexual abuse, then of course you have to report it. We have men's refuge, we have women's refuge,
But that in itself is
charities.
difficult to report. Like, how can I go and my esteem, self-esteem is kind of going to be affected. So people will suffer this in silence, really. How can I go and report that I'm being denied this and I'm suffering, so give me therapy?
Yes, well, I wonder what sort of therapy you do. But the point is that, you see, if you are making a claim, then you should be prepared to support your claim with evidence. Otherwise, we can all go wild and say things.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, the person has asked a question that does it include sexual denial or sex denial? Yes, it includes, but you should be able to evidence it that that has led to something.
Okay.
Because it's not in itself that, right, okay, I'm suffering this and that's it. Because remember, that bit will lead to something. It will affect your growth, development, your general well being. And that is why it has to be safeguarded so that it doesn't continue.
Okay.
And if it's going to continue to affect you, and government program seeks to prevent or safeguard suicide, people dying in silence. So eventually, by the time we realize something has happened, but if we knew about it, we could have done something. So the idea here is that if you report it, you get remedy. If you don't report it, then the presumption is that it's not there.
Okay. All right. So, proving it, you have mentioned that we could go to the first point of call, your GP, who would listen to your case and prescribe therapy for you to get back to normal. Um, in that case, would you want to pick up a documentary, something from the GP, say the referral? Would you want to have that documentation to support your immigration and nationality application in a sense?
Well, if the case, of course, we are talking about how does this among men help them to gain their leave,
Indefinite to
and therefore the conversation now takes us to immigration applications. Now that we are within the immigration domain, you have to make application and support your application with evidence. Now, the government program is that those people who are going through that to the extent that their partners decide not to support their applications as part of their abuse. They wouldn't tell, okay, we'll see. I brought you here. We shall see who is the man in the house or the woman in the house.
Okay.
So the man who has been brought into the country by the woman will suffer in silence. Because if he decides to speak up, the woman will use the trump card, which is the leave application that is to be renewed, to say that we'll see, your time will come, I will show you. He doesn't want to be shown, and therefore he will be quiet and suffer. The government is saying that you don't have to be quiet and suffer. If you're a man, you have to speak up. You have to approach your GP and tell your GP that this is what I'm going through. It might be that, you see, the man, for example, has come in. You have to find a job. And the woman who is providing is the breadwinner, of course, but can be using that as a means to always, all you do is this, blah, 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 blah. So anything that triggers emotional distress for the man, he has to speak up and he has to seek support.
Right.
Obviously, it has to be something, it's not a one occasion or one-off event.
It has to be something that's
It has to be something that has been recurring. And the question should be, how long should it be? Of course, if this has happened and it's happening again, third time, fourth time, then of course you've been dealing with it. It's not working, you have to report it.
Okay.
So you have spoken to friends and family, nothing is happening. You've spoken to your GP. The GP is coming in to provide a therapy. If it is physical abuse, the treatment. If it is emotional abuse, counseling. Then we make a referral to the mental health unit. And usually they will ask you to do the self-referral because of the stigma attached. You know, some people feel that when you go to seek support from mental health practitioners, it means you've gone mental. But of course, if something is not great within you, then it will affect you mentally. So you don't have to wait till you become mad before you seek help. So I don't subscribe to the views that if you do that, people think you are mad or you've gone mental. It's not that you've gone mental. It's that you want to seek support before it gets worse. So they'll take you through a course, therapy, and help you. And if it's a case that is going to be so impossible for you to continue to bear in terms of living with the person in the same under the same roof, then position will be to see how you can seek help from the government, including being rehoused and giving support in terms of maintenance. Then government will assist you to accept your application so that the person who is always telling you, I won't do it for you, I won't do it for you, the government will step in to do the application for you.
There's a scenario that has been brought up. Somebody lives with the partner that has children. So he lives with the wife and the stepchildren. Now, the stepchildren really are not showing him the respect. They make references that gets him to have effects on his mental health and the rest of it. Now, when that is reported, are we talking about domestic violence and abuse coming from partners alone, or it could be other members of the family?
Right. So the question is, what has made the stepchildren disrespect the stepfather? When we are talking about men, I'm making reference to stepfathers.
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
If it is the case that what they hear their mother say to the stepfather is making them behave towards the stepfather that way, then we know where it's coming from.
Okay.
So the man will make reference to the father as a result of her behavior. My stepchildren do not even see me as their father and do not accord me the respect that they would have accorded their father. I feel worthless in the home.
So therefore, I want to quit.
Before my wife and before my stepchildren. So It's a combination of things.
Okay, all right. The other question is, if I gather the evidence, um, what, how does the law defend such a person? How does the law support such a person? So um, the man's dignity, his self-esteem will be restored, and he will be useful in the community.
So we have, as I mentioned, we have charity organizations that support men and women. So if you're a man and suffering or going through this, you have to, of course, you've reported the matter to your GP. You also have to report the matter to charities that support men who are going through this um, ordeal. One of them is men's refuge organizations.
Okay.
So they will provide you refuge, temporary refuge. And the temporary refuge could be that they give you temporary accommodation whilst you are seeking to put yourself together. Then you go to the government to seek support. So that, remember, you might have entered with no recourse to public fund. You have no way of surviving because your partner who was helping you to survive is not willing to do so. You haven't found a job yet, for example, or you found a job, but depending on the circumstance, either you become unemployed or the job is not paying enough to be able to survive, and therefore you are largely dependent on your wife, for example. Then you can make reference to that and apply to the government, allege or claim that you are going through this. You support your application with all the evidence. So the first bit is for the government to give you a concession so that you are moved or migrated from the dependent visa or leave you are on to independent visa. And the independent visa will be a 6 month concession that the government will give you, temporary concession under the domestic violence scheme. And that will come with maintenance support. So you'll be put on the recourse to public fund scheme. Then you can access weekly support for your living.
Okay.
Because you've been given 6 months, you have to then take steps to make a main application. And that main application is the crux of this conversation.
Yeah.
This time, you'll not be given 6 months or 2.5 or this. You'll be given indefinite so that you don't have to come back. Because if you are coming back, are you then going to make reference to your partner who you depended upon before? No. So you then make application and the government will offer you settlement or indefinite leave to remain.
Okay.
And once you have that, of course, you live your life.
So when you apply under that category and you are granted, are there any exemptions? For instance, in situations where you might have become homeless, you've been driven out of home, your mental health is not even allow you to work properly. Would you be exempt from fees? Would you be exempt from the health surcharge and all those things?
Yes. So you make application for a fee waiver.
Okay.
And as part of the processes, you fall into the waiver category.
Okay.
So you make application for a waiver. When you are making that waiver application, you have to prove that you are destitute. Back to the destitute conversation, or you are becoming destitute, imminent destitution. And you make reference to your finances, how much you are getting, why is it not enough to support this application, and so on and so forth. And therefore, there are instances where you may not be able to meet the waiver, but it doesn't mean that you can't make your DV application
Okay.
if you can afford. Yeah.
How straightforward is the application?
Well, you can see that the conversation started from the event up to the point of remedy.
Okay.
So you have to then make reference to the event and evidence the event. And you're talking about the violence that has been happening. To the point that have you reported?
Right.
To the point that has you sought order from court. Usually women will seek order where the man will be driven from home. That non-molestation order so that you don't keep abusing them, or occupation order where they will tell you within this vicinity, don't come close. Can men also make the same order? Of course.
Yeah.
Everybody can make an order.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people sometimes do not want to stretch it. So they go through the, let's call it a gentleman way. They say, that's fine. I'm not going to stretch it. I'm going to find a place and stay for the benefit of peace. They may not even press charge against the other party in terms of police station um, charges. So the police, you may have to report to the police, especially if it is a physical abuse or any form of abuse. But depending on the circumstance, the police may ask you, do you want to press charge? If you say no, they will leave it. After all, it's up to you. But then you are required to seek help. So you go to your GP and you do what you have to do. But you have to have all this chronology, event, what happened, how it happened, who was there, what did you do, who did you tell, what did you get, what's the evidence?
Can a neighbor, concerned neighbor, prompt officials or any charitable organizations to the fact that this man is suffering, but because of self-esteem, he is not coming out? So step in and do something.
Yes. Of course, somebody can whistle blow. That's also there. That's also there. But you see, when it comes to complaint, it's a case of you making a complaint.
Okay.
If it involves children, then the state will intervene immediately. There's whistle blowing
Yeah, to safeguard.
to
Yeah.
safeguard the child. But if the woman or the man is able to face it, who intervenes? So you have to, of course, report it.
Right. Statistically, have men been reporting domestic violence? And has the Home Office had any patient granting so many of them if they have put in applications?
Not as much as women are favored in that regard. And that is why this conversation is important. That if you're a man and you are suffering at the hand of your spouse, and to the effect that they think there's nothing you can do, please don't suffer in silence. Speak up, because there's help available.
When I'm being abused and I can't stand it anymore, can I make myself homeless to be able to qualify for this?
You see, you don't create a problem because you want solution or you want help. Then that's self-inflicted, isn't it?
Well, but then I can't stand it.
Well, then if you can't stand it, then you are not making yourself homeless. It is natural that you have left home because you cannot stand the abuse. Not that you chose to leave home because you want help.
Okay.
So if you can't stand the abuse and you have left home, then you need to be supported to be able to live,
Okay.
to protect your dignity. But if you say that I'm fine, but I'm leaving home because I need help because of this, then you can't prove your case. What made you leave home?
It's difficult. Difficult because the background of men that suffer violence or abuse at home is that men are supposed to be able to tolerate things like that. Men are supposed to be able to have that thick skin to be able to stand these things. People are suffering. The threshold of believing whether you be abused or not is a standard the same as when a woman would have reported.
Well, today's conversation is to speak to men
Okay.
who find themselves in such situations. And if you didn't know, I suppose you now know
Yeah.
that you can also get the same help that women who find themselves in that situation are getting.
Okay.
So if you are finding yourself in that situation and you seek help, help is available. And the help doesn't discriminate that this is for women only. No, it's for everybody. Just that men didn't, it's for everybody. And it's also about, you see, if you need help, then you don't have to pretend. that everything is okay.
It's difficult.
It's difficult, then you might as well keep it.
Lawyer, it's difficult.
I know, but this is somebody whom, and again, we are talking about immigration. So if you know that you are at the verge of losing your leave, you've tolerated the abuse, and you're also going to lose your leave, then what is there for you to protect? Why can't you speak up now?
Speak up or forever remain silent. Well, folks, we are discussing the issue of men who suffer domestic violence or abuse and the help they can get, especially when it is that they have to renew their stay in the country. If you can prove domestic violence and abuse, the Home Office allows you to apply for indefinite leave to remain in the country. Do you have a question? Have you I'm not saying come share your experience with me. I would love to hear you. Yes, I would like to know how deep the problem is. But if you have any question, you can come in. The numbers I'm going to activate very soon: 0208 or 07399208 Or you can send a voice note or a text to text number 07950422780. Lawyer Charles Asma from BWF Solicitors is our resource person and guest this afternoon, and the program is The Community and the Law. We'll be right back.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws. There are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner, with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community, is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214-218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London. N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
Okay, thank you very much for sticking and staying. 0739920848 or 020812311016. Emmanuel G, thank you for staying with us. Mrs. Abigail Nadu, Daisy Herman, Darlington Smile, Yalboating, Doris Amankwa, Odesheba Nana Kweku May Dede, Hold on So, Nana Kevin Asamoah, Abdullahi Moro, Lydia Mensa, Habiba Mim. Then from years I've seen you. Bal Masi, thank you for coming all along. Rebecca Moako and all the wonderful people that are on there. Nanaya, I can see you as well. Thank you. If you have any question, if you have any concerns, just bring that up and we'll pick it up for a lawyer to address for us. So we'll be going to the lines. Lines are active, so you can call in now. And remember, later on, we'll be looking at our calculation that I mentioned. We'll be looking at the calculation of the maintenance and the financial criteria to be able to make an application. Let's see what this one says. I will quickly put that on the platform for lawyer to address for us. And as I said, if you have any question, any concerns, you can come in. It doesn't matter whether it concerns what we are discussing or not. You can still come in with that. It says, I'm a graduate teacher with teaching experience and construction experience as well. How will you help me write the exams to get the reference number? Um, I know lawyer is referring to this scheme teachers can come in to work in the UK and all that. So it's asking a graduate teacher with teaching experience and construction work experience. Okay, that must be very handy. How would you help me write the exams to get the reference number? I don't know whether you'll be able to
Well,
help.
I suppose the person is asking, how do I find a job and get a sponsorship?
Mm-hmm.
Um, right. So there are two gateways. There's one gateway where people come in to train to qualify as teachers.
Okay.
And the other gateway where people are coming in to actually practice as teachers. If you're coming in to practice as a teacher, an overseas trained teacher, you go through as people would for work, get the work offer or the job offer, be issued with sponsorship certificate, they apply to come to the UK. In that case, the person must find a job, teaching job in the school.
Okay.
And what a person has to do, just go online and search teaching job in the UK
Right.
and go through the process to apply. Then when the wind falls, they will be offered a job and they will be given sponsorship certificate and apply to come in. Those who want to come and train to become teachers, again, they have to search online, how do I enter the UK to qualify the teacher in the UK?
Okay.
Then they follow the process as well. If the person wants more information, I suppose they can contact KT Education.
Okay.
And I'm sure KT Education will be able to offer more information on those who want to come in here to train,
Okay.
to teach, or those who want to come in and teach.
Well, I think the obvious answer to this next one I've just picked up on it says, I have a relative in Ghana who's a nurse and has written and passed the IELTS and CBT, that is a computer-based test. She's looking to migrate to the UK. How can you help? It
Yes.
might be the same answer, isn't it?
Right. Yes. So in this case, if the person should get in touch, would then refer the person to employers, because this is a nurse who may come in as a carer and then progress into the mainstream nursing practice. So that is with this one. The person can make contact if they have their now if they want to share their number, we'll approach them, or they can call us and ask to speak to us and we'll make a referral. We don't employ people; we can only refer them to the employers we know, and that's what I'm saying. The person makes contact. So
All right. Another one here says that I have a friend who okay, you put in a name, so I would want to shield that for purposes of the dignity of the person. So it says, I have a friend who has been suffering for some years now. Okay, I think I asked the question like that. I would want to report the lady to the police because my friend doesn't want to do that, and I know he's not feeling good about it. Can I do that?
well, person can whistle blow it.
Okay.
and police will visit to
But
find.
in this community, if you whistle blow, people take you as a gossip, and your dignity as well is at stake.
But whistleblowing law is itself a gossip law.
Yeah.
And because the law protects the whistleblower.
Okay.
So the police or the officer will not say that Charles has reported to us that you are suffering. They will say we have the information that this is happening. So we are here to offer help. Not investigate, but to offer help. At that point, if the man says nothing is happening, then the officer will assume that the whistleblower was only dreaming.
In that case, there wouldn't be help for anybody.
Well, if they go, they come and you say that, oh, everything is okay, then what can they do?
How long does that take? Does it follow the normal up to 6 months application for that to happen? I'm asking this because whoever is suffering domestic violence is going through a lot, and the community would want to alleviate that situation. So when an application like that is put in, does it take long for a decision to be made?
Well, largely applications take a standard time, but you see, the person who is making the application has already been receiving immediate support in terms of benefit to be able to meet living, food, and shelter. All might have been housed already elsewhere, and therefore it's not a case of I need it to be able to survive.
Okay.
It's a case of when I get it so that at least. So you are already receiving protection or support.
Okay.
So when you get your leave, you know you've received your leave. I believe the thought that you are not at the hand of the dependent who brought you or who's supposed to do it for you is in itself a relief. So how long does it take? I would say just like any other application.
Okay.
Oftentimes it comes quicker. Oftentimes it slows down. If they feel that there isn't enough evidence, they will come for more evidence. So your job is to make sure that you spend more time on the evidence as opposed to making a quick application and having to comb around for evidence.
Okay.
And remember, this is a concessionary application or discretionary application for those people. So if you are doing it, you do it right. Add all the evidence, including your own statement. You have to write your statement, signed by yourself. Of course, if you are doing it through a lawyer, the lawyer will guide you. There should be chronology of events within your statement. How, when the first one started, how, and this has been happening, how they happen, where they happen, and what you go through as a result. You have to categorize all this, put in the form of statement. Sometimes people write 3, 4, 5 pages because they have to make a strong case. That is your statement. That should be supported by GP's letter because you claim you reported to the GP or you'll be reporting to the GP. You claim as a result of that you are even on medication. Yeah, you want to see the prescriptions, that will add value. He said even as a result of that, you've been referred to CAMS. Yeah, that's the word, the name I was looking for, CAMS.
Okay.
You've been referred to CAMS for counseling, for mental health therapy. We want to see CAMS course you are on, the CAMS attendance you've been having, and the treatment you've been receiving. He said as a result of that, you've reported to Men's Refuge. We want to see the letter from the Men's Refuge unit when you reported and the help they are giving. So you can see that all these are independent. They are not family members or friends.
Okay.
For you to say that I'm getting letters from my friends to say that, yes, they know I'm suffering. No, they should be independent and the evidence should be corroborated. If I say corroborative, the GPs will say that you reported this, the GP will say, I referred you to this. The people you were referred to, the referral was made from the GP on this date, and we also did this. It was so difficult that we had to escalate it. So we made reference to that. We even told him to report to the police, and we followed up. The police will say he reported, but he decided not to press any charge. So we left it there, but we have reference number.
Okay.
Put all this together in your supporting evidence bundle. add it to your application. How long would this take? Depend on how serious your case is, isn't it?
Yes. Beyond that, when the person has been granted indefinite leave to remain, obviously, if the person has the desire to apply for naturalization, um, does the concession end with your indefinite leave to remain, or the concession can take you beyond that to naturalization and becoming a British citizen?
Once you have indefinite leave to remain, you have settled in the UK. Becoming a citizen is a choice.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you choose to naturalize or you choose to become a citizen, then you go through that application process where you have to prove that you've had your indefinite for 1 year and you meet the requirement for 5-year residence. What it means is that if your indefinite has been fast-tracked, naturalization cannot be fast-tracked because the criteria are obvious. So you have to meet the residency. What it means is that you have to wait till you've had that 5-year residence, then you apply for naturalization. But you still have your indefinite.
So when you make a DV application and you have an indefinite leave to remain, you still would have to stay on it for 5 years. Is that what you're saying?
What we are saying is that naturalization application is a standalone application.
Okay.
You are not making a naturalization application because you have previously been a victim of domestic violence.
Okay.
Naturalization application is for everybody who wants to naturalize, having met Section 6 of the British Nationality Act, 1981 provision, and Schedule 1 of that Act, which specifies the evidence you need to have. And one of them is that you have to prove 5 years legal residence in the UK.
Okay.
So if you were fast-tracked to become settled, then you cannot be fed fast-tracked to
become a
become
citizen.
naturalized or citizen.
No, okay, let's look at that this way. If I was on an initial 5-year route, for instance, 2 years down the line, I can't cope anymore. So I get a DV application put in, fast tracked for me, and I was granted. Would the 2 years that I spent on the previous stay be counted as part of my 5 year?
That was legal residence.
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay. So then I would rather stay on it for 3 years before I can.
So that's what I mean by as long as you can prove that you have had 5 years legal residence in the UK and 1 year on the indefinite leave to remain, you make your naturalization application.
The person who I was depending on didn't mind me, quote unquote. I have had a DV application put in, I've been granted, and I've had my indefinite leave to remain. Would there be any consequence on the stay of that person in any way?
No, I
The
mean,
person was abusing me, and I've run away. Or that's a criminal matter that police have to deal with?
well, I mean, it depends on what happened to that event, whether it was reported and a charge was pressed for the police to take action. Remember, the moment police come in, we are talking about crime. If there's no police involved, then there's no crime per se, because police deals with crime. Now, people will choose not to press charge against the perpetrator. So the police job will be simpler. It will only end after they have made report or they have logged the complaint. But if you are going to
Press
press
charge.
charge, then the police will follow you with the help of CPS.
Even after you've been granted your new application?
Well, the question here is, were you seeking remedy for what is happening, or you were seeking papers? Is just coincidence.
Okay.
The key thing is that you were suffering violence at the hand of somebody. And therefore, that is the solution. As a result of that, the byproduct is for you to be protected. And to be protected includes being given leave to remain so that you don't continue to depend on this person who used this as a way to abuse you, maybe.
Okay.
So, two separate things. You are going through the immigration aspect, but if you also choose to go through the criminal aspect, that's fine.
That's fine. Okay. When you are putting in a DV application, is there any particular form you need to use, or you can pick up any general form, but you have to write a cover letter to say this is the reason why I'm putting it?
So it's called DV form.
Okay.
So we under the settlement application, we have a range of settlement applications. So set O for normal one, set M for married people, set DV for those under domestic violence route, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So depending on your route, you go for that particular form. If you are not sure and you miss the form, your application is not valid because you didn't use the prescribed form for the application.
Okay. Um, if you're calling in and somebody's saying I'm calling, the line is going through, there are two numbers, 0208 or the 07399208 Well, OT is saying thank you very much. Well, OT, thank you as well for staying here. King Zach, yeah, you can call that, or you can call through the WhatsApp number if you're having issues with any of the numbers. 073992084680, 0208 Okay, King Zach, I think last week I answered your question and it's come again. You wanted assistance for your visa application. You can call in BWF solicitors on 0208 Let's see if I have any of the comments on the platform. Let's put that one on and get Lawyer to help us with that. Lawyer, good evening. I have a friend who's married to a woman with a child. The child is a British citizen. My friend wants to do an application to depend on his stepchild, but the mother is not allowing it. Uh, could this be considered as an abuse? Interesting, isn't it?
Right. Right. Um, I mean, the reason why I was sharing this emotion in terms of giggling and laughing is that I'm trying to appreciate the extent of conversation we can have with this topic and appreciating the dynamics being introduced. And to say thank you for introducing that dynamics, hence my happiness. Can this person rely on this for that? Remember, the conversation we've had so far suggests that you prove that something is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that whatever is happening is affecting you in the form of abuse, emotionally, psychologically, physically.
Mm-hmm.
So if you cannot prove that, then it will be difficult. So if the person only said that I won't help you to do the thing, I won't support your application. I won't support your application. Yes, you've married a person or you've been cohabiting with a person. Unfortunately, they are not your children.
Mm-hmm.
They are your stepchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So you need the support of your partner to be able to make that application. If there are other instances of abuse, then that is where the interest
Would be.
goes.
Okay.
Then we pick those instances or events, polish, refined, package, and present.
I let me bring out a scenario in the shoes of this person. One, he's been living with a partner and the stepchildren. He, out of the love for the mother, been catering for or even being in the life of these children, it's gotten to the point where he needs help as well. And he's been told bluntly, no, I'm not going to do that. You can't depend on my children to do what it is that you want to do. Emotionally, this person will be hurt. and probably would have pleaded days and months on end. And the answer is evidently no all the time. Can't I say that? Well, I feel traumatized. I feel hurt. So use this for me.
Okay, so we are looking at the reason for the relationship in the first place.
Right.
Remember, or should I say, let's remind ourselves that whatever support we get from the relationship is a byproduct.
Okay.
So the idea is that we've entered into the relationship with a view to have genuine and subsistence family life. As a result of that, the person will support our application for leave to remain or application for leave to enter if we are not already here.
Yeah.
If the person says that wait, and you don't have the patience to wait, then that's not abuse.
No, but this is outright
Yeah,
no.
yes, I'm coming. So, how do you prove that the person said outright or made emphatic statement that I won't help? It might be a case that the person said, wait, or let's see, hold on for a while. I will do it for you. Bear with me. Let's see what happens. Does that mean no?
But if we could get a question back on
Oh, so the person came with a question.
yes, there's a question on there. It says, I have a friend who's married to a woman child. The child is a British citizen. My friend wants to do an application to remain in the country depending on the stepchild, but the mother is not allowing it. Can he consider this as an abuse?
You see, this person is reporting what the friend told him or
Okay.
her,
Okay.
isn't it? And if you look at the last phrase, it's not allowing it. It's not allowing. The person is not allowing it.
Right.
What does it mean? If for somebody to conclude that this means not allowing, not allowing it can be that I've been asking for it and the person is always saying, wait, wait, wait. That's also not allowing it to happen, isn't it? It can also be the person says, I won't do it or I won't help you.
Okay.
Da, 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 da. Or the person say, right, if you came into the relationship because of this, then it won't happen. I want to see that you came in because you want us to live as husband and wife.
Okay.
Maybe the person is waiting for a proof that you are in for, you mean the relationship, and you are not just there as a result of whatever you are getting.
Okay.
So it depends on the context. But either way, the person must be able to prove. Let's grant it that yes, it means the person has decided not to support the application of this stepfather. I will say that because the emotional trauma is coming from not giving you opportunity to have your leave, then it will appear as if your interest is there.
Okay.
Your emotional abuse should be stemming from the abusive nature of the relationship, i.e., always calling you names, demeaning you, i.e., physically abusing you, tormenting you, and so on and so forth, shouting on you, calling you names,
Right.
and all that. But the person politely and humbly said, wait, or not yet, or I won't. Maybe because of that, you've been thinking about it. Then you are not thinking about the relationship per se, then you're thinking about the fact that you are not getting
So
what you want.
it means that you can't just pick up any flimsy excuse and say I'm being abused.
Remember, it's a very serious application.
Okay.
You are telling the government that, please, make me a settled person so that you don't consider me as somebody who has to go through the processes like everybody else. So you have to have a very strong case.
Right.
That's why you cannot just pick up any flimsy excuse and present. It can backfire. That's why you cannot just present it with nothing. You have to evidence it. And that's why the evidence will not come from family and friends. It has to be independently verifiable
Okay.
and corroborative.
This one says, please have my children in Ghana and I want to apply for their visas to be visiting the UK every vacation. Alternatively, will their BRP be affected? I have my children in Ghana. I want to apply for their visa to be visiting the UK every vacation. Alternatively, so for instance, there are three vacations in any academic year. So they come in, go, come in, go. I don't know whether he wants to ask whether you can apply for one stretch visa and they come in every time that there's a
I
vacation.
think I get what the person is trying to ask. That my children, I want my children to join me in the UK under Appendix FM,
Okay.
or it could even be under Appendix EU. And once they come, they will be given BRP, biometric permit,
Okay.
2.5, or settlement, depending on what the parent has and whether these are children under 18. Can they still go back to the country of origin to continue their education? That's the question, isn't it?
All right.
You see, when you are in the UK, of course, when they were making the application, they said that they are joining their parents with a view to settle in the UK with their parents and to live in the UK. The rules are that if you are in the UK, you can move in and out, especially if you are not restricted. If it is indefinite leave to remain, you don't have any restriction, so you can go and come at will. If it is leave to remain, limited leave to remain, then you have to renew it at a point. If you are going to renew it, you must prove that you have had continuous residence in the UK.
Okay.
You've been habitually resident in the UK. So people, it doesn't mean you can't go on holiday. The children can go on holiday, but they cannot stay outside the UK for 6 months and above. I would say that maximum should be 3 months on holiday. If they are going maximum 3 months on holiday, would that be enough for them to have that term education in that country, in Ghana?
No.
If that 3 months will not be enough, then it's likely that at a point they will risk the continuous residence.
Okay.
And if the risk is contemplated, then they don't have to jeopardize it. So the person has to make a decision. Should I wait for my children to finish the education where they are and come, or I should relocate them completely to come and continue education?
Okay. Well, you still can call in 02081231016 0739208468. Your text and WhatsApp numbers, our messages, so to speak, on 0795042278. Kwame says, can a charity worker switch to any route? A charity worker, I think.
Well, some of the routes are ring-fenced. The restrictions are such that you cannot switch to another route.
Okay.
So there are restrictions. So depend on the restriction you have. Because some of these charity workers only have temporary, for example, the temporary workers. You come in for maybe 3 months and you have to return after the job or the process is over. So it depends on the nature of the leave the person has at the moment. And I will advise the person to approach to show the leave they have, then we can look at the restrictions on that leave, whether they can switch it.
Okay. David Blake, thank you for watching. Felicity of Friata, we have Mame Oda, and I'll say peace. Yes, my Namate is also around the corner. Thank you for being there. Abna Tivo, good evening to Uncle Kweku and Brother Charles. Well, you still can come in and give us a call or send your comment to the platform. The number again 0739208468 or 0208123116. WhatsApp text 0795042278. We're taking another quick break, and when we come, we'll pick up your questions, concerns, and put further questions to the lawyer.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws, there are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner, with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community, is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London. N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
Okay, we are right back. 020813101607399208 and text 0750422780. Lawyer, has any DV application been refused?
Hardly. If you do it right, so you can see that there's a proviso. Provided you get it done right, it should be refused.
Would it be refused because there isn't enough evidence or they don't believe your story?
There isn't enough. You haven't met the criteria. You haven't evidenced the thresholds.
But it's supposed to be a subjective something, isn't it?
But you have to prove that there is something that has made you make this application. So you can't just write all verbally, put your point. You can't just present your side of the story alone without corroborative evidence from third parties who are aware of this. And these third parties are not family and friends. They are independent bodies. So if all these independent people are saying, then the presumption is that you are right. So we have to protect you.
Okay.
If you asked, if your question was, has your firm ever had DV application refused? I would say no. But if you ask, has a DV application ever been refused? Mind you, there are a lot of DV applications across the length and breadth of the country. And therefore, those that are done right, they don't have to be refused. But obviously, there might be some that are not done properly, and therefore, they may be refused. So you have to make sure that, because this is not something that you do it yourself. Because there are a lot of rules and laws to be, criteria should be met. Every box should be ticked. So there are people who will be listening to us or who do listen to us and are empowered to do things on their own. But this is one of the things that you do on your own. Because to even conclude that this evidence is okay to present to the caseworker is something that has to be tested. What did the GP write? Is this something that will support the case? The police report you have. These days, the police don't give reports because they hear a lot of stories. So they only tell you, okay, we've heard. They may not tell you anything. At least we need a crime reference number. So how did you report it? And why were you not given a crime reference number? Which charity organizations have you reported help?
Okay.
Where are you still living? So imagine this person who is claiming that they've been subjected to abuse in the home. and they are still living at home, that means they haven't reported for help. Why haven't you reported for help? Because there's help available. And when you did, what were you given? Were you moved to a temporary shelter? So you can see that these are pieces of things you need to put together so that the application will stand for approval or grant. If it's weak, then obviously the case worker will come back for more
Further
evidence
evidence, yeah.
under the evidential flexibility rules. But you cannot leave everything for them to come back and ask, because they are not supposed to. We learned that they are not supposed to come back to ask for everything. They can come back to ask for what is left out of the one you presented. So if you presented maybe a GP letter and it is not signed, and they feel that it should have been signed, they may ask you to get a letter that has been signed. That is not to say you didn't send the GP letter. It was there. So under the evidential flexibility rules, they can ask you to get a proper GP letter. But if you decide not to send a GP letter and all the evidence required, will they come and ask you to provide them? No. So these are the dynamics.
Is it something that is expected that when you put in a DV application, you necessarily have to add a fee waiver? Because the person might be abused, yes, but still may have the wherewithal to pay for any application.
So remember we said that even if you make a waiver application, you have to meet the
criteria.
requirement for waiver. If you don't meet the requirement for waiver, the waiver application is refused. But it doesn't mean that you cannot go ahead with your DV application. So if the person feels that they cannot meet the waiver, what it means is that they cannot be granted the first stage concession where they can go onto the benefit ladder.
Okay.
Because they're able to survive. So the waiver is for you to go on the benefit ladder. And once you are on benefit, your DV application will be made free automatically.
Well, listen, don't stay and suffer. Apart from the fact that you could have the benefit of being protected by the law, it is not for anybody to suffer abuse or violence. Seek help. Report. Don't stay in there thinking that my self-esteem will be affected one way or the other, and the community people will not respect me here and there. Please, don't ever think that it is enough to shield anything. Nobody is strong enough to shield this forever. Seek help. And one of the things that you can do is to ask the Home Office to take you away from that situation. Because for all you know, the person is doing that just to quote and unquote show you. Don't be shown. Show yourself out. Seek help. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the reason why, if you see the demeanor of Lawyer Charles Osma, he sounds very emotional about it, but he's being very professional to make sure that you do the right thing. I'm feeling same as well. I'll be right back. Okay, it's about time we did our quiz. I told you at the beginning that we will be doing some calculations. Now, look at this. Adequate maintenance and accommodation means that after income tax, national insurance contributions, and housing costs have been deducted, there must be available to the person or family the level of income or funds that will be available to them if the person or family was in receipt of income support. That is the projected weekly income. Those of you who are very arithmetic prone, let's term that as our A. So the projected weekly income A less projected weekly accommodation cost B, so A minus B, would be equal to or more than the amount the family would be entitled to if they were in receipt of income support or its equivalent. Okay, I'm going to read that again because from here I'm bringing you the question. Adequate maintenance and accommodation means that after income tax, national insurance contributions, and housing costs, which we normally would say your rent, have been deducted, there must be available to the person or family the level of income or funds that would be available to them if the person or family was in receipt of income support. That is, the projected weekly income. So if you were earning 1,500 a month, Lawyer mentioned to us when he was explaining us that we will divide or reduce it or bring it down to a weekly amount. And that is termed A. Then we take away your projected weekly accommodation cost. Now, by this, I'm assuming that your weekly income would have taken care of your income tax and your national insurance contributions already. So that will be your net income for the week. Then when it comes into your hands, or what shows on your pay slip, or what reflects on your bank account, we take away what you say your rent is. So your projected weekly accommodation costs, and that is B. So A minus B. And it would be equal to or more than the amount the family would be entitled to if they were in receipt of income support or its equivalent. Okay, now my question. I'm going to give you a scenario. And this scenario is this. Opia earns a weekly income of £275 after tax, and national insurance have been deducted. Now, when you go to the nugget, today I'm making it very easy for you because we're in the classroom, okay? Adequate maintenance and accommodation means that after income tax and national insurance contributions and housing costs have been deducted, there must be available to the person or family the level of income or funds that will be available to them if the person or family was in receipt of national or income support. Now let's go back to the question. Opia earns 275 after tax and insurance has been taken care of. Her accommodation costs are £100 per week. That is £90 for rent and £10 for council tax. Opia's wife, Mansa, earns £500 a week after tax and national insurance. They have 2 children living with them and receive £250 in benefits a week. Can you look at it carefully? Opia's income is £275 after tax. The wife earns £500 a week after tax. That makes it what? 775. I should stop calculating. Yes, I'm going to do the answer now. Okay. Now, using today's income support rate, would Opia meet the adequate maintenance requirement of if he were to bring his 40-year-old daughter from Yepenkure Republic? Use £133.30 as the income support rate for couples and 77.78 for each child. Now, the answers, as we see them, yes, he can, as his household's leftover income is more than 366.64 a week. No, he can't, as he is claiming benefits. And C, yes, he can, because when the child arrives, he can claim more benefits from the family. So the question is, they are earning, the man is earning 275 after tax. The rent is £90 for rent and £10 for council tax. The wife also earns £500 a week after tax and national insurance. They have 2 children living with them and receive £250 in benefits a week. Now, using today's income, would Opiam meet the adequate maintenance requirement if he were to bring his 14-year-old daughter from Yepankure, Yepenukre? That's an imaginary republic. Use £133.30 as the income support rate for couples and 77.78 for each child. Now, let me see those who are so brainy and would want to quickly come in here. Your text 0795042270, or you can put it on the platform. I know people are quiet because this one is mathematics and you're scratching your ears. Let's see how you go about it. For this one, whoever gets it right, I'll give you one of the BW Solicitors t-shirts, brand new one. As for this one, I will give you a prize. So come on. 07950422780, 07950422780, or would you want to call in and show how a good genius to be on there? Let's see who comes in. Okay. Okay. My producer tells me that they're doing the calculation. So, um, uh, oh my days. Okay. Can I say stop work? Anyway, right. Let me go to lawyer. I'll save people. Let me go to lawyer. Lawyer, you took us through the calculation. I've taken my time to go through that. Now, Pia and wife are having, now this one ends 500 after tax, this one ends 275, and they receive 250 for their two children. There's a 40-year-old daughter they have, and they want to bring that. So can they meet the adequate maintenance requirement?
Are people stepping, not stepping in to calculate, but are people sending in the answers or no?
No, nobody's
Or we
because
should proceed?
I think.
Okay, so
Well,
all right. So let's go through the response.
okay.
So Rakuku, you assist us.
Okay.
So we have A minus B must be equal or greater
than C. Okay.
C being the maintenance requirement for immigration purposes under Appendix 7. So we look at weekly income, and gratefully, the facts presented are scaled down to
Okay.
weekly earnings.
So they've done the calculation for us.
So they've converted the monthly earnings to weekly earnings. All these people actually are paid in every week. So it's even easier. If they were paid monthly, then we have to convert it to a week. All right, what we would have done was to multiply the month by 12 and divide by 52 to get exact week. We've done that, and we know that mother and let's say husband and wife, the couple, one earns 275. So if you can put it down for us.
275, yes.
Yes. And the other earns 500.
So add 500.
Yes. So we are looking for A. A is the income.
A is the income.
Does
the income have to be for one person or the couple?
Is the household income.
Household income. So that's 775.
So we're looking for household income. So you search through the house if there's somebody else bringing something. We have checked, and we see that the two children who are living with them at the moment are also bringing in 250.
Okay.
So 3 pots of income, 275, 500, and 250.
That's 1,025.
So 1,025 a week. That is A. So we're going to the algebra. Minus B. And B will be the household immediate expenses. Household immediate expenses.
Okay.
Now, we are told that the income should be after tax and national insurance. So where there hasn't been tax already deducted, we have to check the tax.
Okay.
Where national insurance is not already deducted, we have to check the national insurance. And of course, we consider the rent or the accommodation. Why did they only consider accommodation and not the feeding or that? Because If you have a place to sleep, you will definitely find food.
Find food to eat.
That's
Okay.
why food and other things will be whatever is left. So C will cover the food and other things. You see. So we are looking at B. So B here, let's check. What are the expenses? We are told that 275 already includes tax and national insurance. So that's fine. We are told that accommodation is 100 a week, and that is for the family.
Okay.
So 100.
So we take away 100.
Take away 100. So, but we are looking, yes, so take away 100 for now as part of the B.
Okay.
Then we got that through C. So this accommodation is calculated for us. If it's not calculated, we would have looked at the accommodation component. Here we are looking at the rent and council tax. Thankfully, the author of the quiz was able to make it easier by saying that rent is 90, council tax is 10. So 100 is given.
So accommodation cost is 100.
Accommodation is 100. But if that 100 is not given and they gave you 90 and they gave you 10 for council tax, all you have to look for rent and council tax.
Council tax. All right.
That's all. I think that's all there is for the expenses. Okay.
So
What do you
we
get?
left with 925.
925. Right. So what this 925 is C. This C must be equal to or greater than the government threshold for C.
Okay.
What is the government threshold? So we go online and Google. We ask our grandpa Google, how much is the current weekly benefit for people,
Okay.
couple, children? Google or the examiner has told us that, look, he checked from the DPW or the job center or the council, and they say that 133, 30 pounds for couple. So we have 133, 30. Put that together. So that's there. Each child, 7778. And we have to then look at how many children are involved.
So
How
that
many
would be
children?
3.
How do you get free?
There are 2 already in there, and there's one coming to join.
Very good. So it's not that one coming that we are interested in, all the children, including those who are already
so
here.
77.78 times 3, that gives us 233.34 plus
13330.
plus 133.30. That is 366.64.
336.64. So what we are saying is that this family, so we are saying that such family, if they were to be on benefit,
They would have had
they would have
366.64.
received 336 pounds,
366.
66 pounds, 64 pence a week. Now let's compare this to the disposable income, the immediate disposable income for this family, the C. It was 925, wasn't it?
925, yeah.
So
It's 275 plus
I think it was 1,025 minus
500.
100.
Yes.
Yes, so 925.
925.
So is 925 equal to or more than 366.64?
It's not even equal, it's more than.
It's more than, because it's supposed to be equal or greater than. It's greater than, thankfully.
So
if
they
it's
meet.
equal, fine, but it's even greater. Have they met it? Yes. So the child should be able to meet the maintenance and join the family in the UK.
So the answer is
So
obviously
the answer is A. Now, let me take you back. Why did we include all the free children? Presumption is that the children are not British citizens.
okay.
Because if they were British citizens, then we didn't have to worry about their maintenance anyway. But because they are not British citizens, we have to factor them into the calculation, even if they are in the UK.
Okay.
All right.
I think I've seen two comments there. Ade Munukum says what? Or you waited till Ade Munukum, you waited till we calculated, he said one. Okay, the next one is what? I'm watching you from. You didn't do the calculation, you're just watching me. Okay, thank you. So Abna Tibo says, hey, Abna, you waited till we did the calculation. But then it's not too complex. But then you would have to understand what it is that when you have your weekly income, you take your weekly accommodation costs out of that. Now, the weekly income, we're assuming that what would have come into your bank account or shown on your pay slip will be the net when we would have taken away your tax and national insurance. Now take accommodation cost. Accommodation cost is your rent plus your council tax. Now whatever is left, depending on the standard rate for the period. In this situation, we're saying we're using £133.30 as the income support rate for couples, that is the man and the wife together, then £77.78 for each child. So the one coming from Ghana to join them, plus the ones that are here, you put all them together, each is supposed to get £77.78 per week. So even if there are 10 children, you'd have to calculate that as to what you would have earned. Now, if you put the couple together, 133 plus 77.78 for each child, no matter the number of children, put the two together, compare it to what you earn, and you have taken your rent and council tax from that. If it is less than the amount that we calculated for the income support, 133.30 for couple and 77.78 for each child, if it is less than that, you don't meet the requirement. If it is equal to that, yes, you do meet the requirement. If it is more than that, you meet even that. So that's what it is. I needed you to get your calculators out. We've done that. Learn.
So you can see that this is a great assurance. And assurance is that the default position is that if you are making application under 5-year route, you have to show that you work and you earn 18,600 for
Right.
yourself. If you have children and they are not British citizens, you have to also show that you have more than 18,600 because you need to cover the first child 3,200 and any other child 2,400.
Right.
That's the default position which most people may not meet. So that's the immigration rule requirement. Then we go down to the case law requirement, which is now factored into the immigration rule. And that's why you can see that the authority is case law. So the case of KA and the case of Ahmed. So if somebody were to make an application and they met the calculation we have done today, and the application was refused, and the caseworker who didn't understand this said that you didn't show 18,600, and the case went to court, the argument to the judge would be that under the case law, the case of Ahmed 2013, you do not need to show 18,600. You need to show adequate maintenance, which is A minus B greater or equal to C. The person did it, got it, and should have been given. We shouldn't have been here. And the judge will allow the appeal.
Well, thank you very much. I believe time rounded up. So I'll give you the chance to do your traditional thing.
Hello, viewers and listeners. Today we have looked at a very important thing, and that is if you're a man and you are going through domestic abuse, what should you do? The position or what usually happens is that men decide not to speak up because they want to feel stronger, even at the point of death. But what we are saying today is that if you have opportunity to speak, speak. And if the person who brought you to the UK or who sponsored your application is refusing to renew it for you, you have opportunity to renew it yourself by making a case that you are suffering domestic abuse. And one of the reasons why this is happening is that the person has even decided not to renew it for you or support your application. If that's the case, you must prove that this has happened and may possibly have continued to happen, and therefore the government should intervene to assist in your situation. You have to prove your claim by showing that the evidence happened and they are supported by evidence, by third-party, independent, verifiable evidence that support each other. So the police, the GP, HAMS or mental health organizations where you were receiving counseling, refuge organizations where you contacted charities, where you contacted for help in terms of accommodation, and so on and so forth. All these will come together to support your case. You do not make this application if you do not have support for the claim you are making. The first part of this application is to request for concessional grant of 6 months so that you are removed from the original leave to the concessional leave of 6 months. And you make another application before the 6-month leave expires. At the point where you are making a concessional application, if you are not able to support yourself financially, you make application for the government to grant you support by making a waiver application. In this case, you'll be supported financially and you'll be supported with your accommodation. You make application for indefinite leave to remain using a form called CERT-DP. The time within which the application will be decided depends on the standard time, 6 months or more. Either way, the application will be decided and you will have your leave. You are going to be granted indefinite leave to remain, which means you do not need to have anything to do with the original leave that you depended on before. We believe that this has offered you a bit of hope if you're a man and you now know what you have to do. And as long as you do that and you take the necessary steps and you're able to support your claim with verifiable evidence, then your application should succeed. Thank you.
And with that, I draw the curtains down the program. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for sticking and staying with us. It's been a very useful discussion. We looked at two very important things, the maintenance threshold and also the DV application. I said earlier on, I want to repeat that. Please, don't sit on it. Don't bottle your emotions. Seek help. A stitch in time, they say, saves 9. Before we go, I think I'll give lawyer the chance to just bring in one further point, and we thank you.
So we have earlier on looked at the calculation in terms of whether the children are British or whether the children are non-British. So if the children are even British, what you have to do for the purposes of this maintenance calculation, you include them in your calculation so that at least the caseworker will understand that you have been able to meet the requirements as set out within the rules. So you don't consider them, even if they are British, and say that you are not going to consider them. Just add them to that and factor them in your calculation so that you are 100% sure that you have met the C requirement. Thank you.
And to our studio manager, Professor Ade, thank you so very much. Sheila and Patmore for the aesthetic and administrative work. To all the lawyers at BWF Solicitors, we want to say thank you very much. And to you out there, I want to encourage you to keep watching. The video will be on our platform, and if you missed a live event, you can go back and watch it. And also to invite people to join us same time next week, and I will be coming your way with another edition of the Community and the Law. My name is Obreko Frimpong. Good evening.
Yeah. Jesus, you're my everything, yeah. My everything is you, Lord. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Everybody say,